The Fanfiction Power Hour is a comedy podcast between friends that does not attempt straightforward readings. The links to the fanfictions are in the description if you would prefer an unaltered experience and to support the authors by giving the stories a like. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Jen and Wizzy's Fanfiction Power Hour. I'm your host, Jen Reaper. And with me here today, as always, is my co-host, Wizzy Puff. Say hello, Wizzy.
Hey, how you doing? It's me, Wizzy Puff. You're a friendly neighborhood puffy man.
Very puffy.
Let's say my catchphrase, stay puffed.
Like the Marshmallow Man?
Darn it, that's taken, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
And it's better than my first attempt, which was whiz yourself.
Oh, God. Wizzy, have you ever thought about getting a job?
No, not in my life. Why?
Well, I think you would work great as, a phone sex operator.
I probably would, you're right. Tell me more.
Today we're going to be reading Limestone Pie Works at a Phone Sex Operator by Peaberry.
What? Limestone stealing my job?
Yep. Sorry, she took it while you weren't looking.
God damn!
You took too long to decide if you wanted to do it or not.
These gosh darn earth ponies are taking our jobs.
They are. What a bummer. Yeah, this is one of the more dangerous fics that we've decided to read. It's like up there with I Did Who as maybe we're gonna need to cut this episode, which would make it the second episode featuring Limestone that we cut.
Is that true? The other one had
Limestone? There was one that had Limestone that we didn't end up releasing. I can't remember what it was. I think, the Pie Sisters watch, what's it called? The Devil's Rejects, I believe.
Oh my God. I forgot about that. God. Do we still have that recorded?
I don't know if I was able to back up my side of it before my computer died.
Oh, man.
But maybe. It's been nearly a year since we did that one.
Yeah, geez. That's true.
Yeah. Hopefully this one doesn't get too raunchy. It is only rated T for teen. So I expect that it'll be fine. Like I Did Who or 6 characters. Just because it has the sex tag doesn't mean anything.
Exactly. And hey, maybe it does mean something. And we'll really learn a lesson that time.
Yep. But until that, we're just going to be going into this completely blind and naked. We're both naked, butt naked.
You weren't supposed to tell them.
This is Limestone Pie Works at a Phone Sex Operator by Peaberry. I should also mention that it is set during the events of another fic called Lemons, which in itself is an unofficial sequel to Of Limestones and Rocks.
Oh, I get it. Lime, lemon, phone, sex, porn story, lemon.
Yes.
I'm clever.
And Of Limestones and Rocks, we could totally read.
Oh?
It's only 2,800 words long.
Man.
The other one is 12,000 words long, but we could read them in chapters. We're not going to, though. So hopefully this isn't going to reference the other stories too much. We've had a few fics that take place in or after, during, yada yada, the events of another story. This is just one in the long line of those, so that's that.
That really holders my boulder. Sorry, I needed to mention that the quote from the art for the story
was definitely worth mentioning. All right, getting into it. Chapter: Hard as a Rock. What was she doing here? What in Celestia's great, merciful name was she doing here? Limestone Pie was sitting in a plainly furnished, sparsely lightened office. Well, calling this dump an office would have been an exaggeration. The entire neighborhood had certainly seen better days. But this big, run-down apartment building was a prime example of what these parts of Manhattan that weren't frequented by tourists and camera teams looked like. I guess she's in Manhattan.
Oh,
Interesting.
how'd you get there?
I guess we have no way of finding out.
Yep, there's no way.
And in between of it all was she, sitting on an old office chair which she was sure had been picked up from a pile of bulk garbage some time ago, leaning over an old, sticky wooden desk and looking at an ancient telephone standing in front of her. The fact that the ponies call something an ancient telephone.
It's true. But I mean,
I don't even know if we've seen them have telephones.
But it's Manhattan. Certainly they have things more advanced than the scum that live in Ponyville, right?
They might, but I'm not entirely sure.
How do they, communicate? That's right, they normally send letters, don't they?
Yeah.
Huh.
Twilight never,
really thought about it.
texts Celestia.
Yeah.
She never picks up a rotary phone and just says, "Get Celestia on the line real quick."
And Spike has to do that rather than swallowing a letter or whatever.
Yeah. They do have phones in Equestria Girls, though.
Oh, that makes sense.
But that was obvious. She knew what she was doing here. She knew exactly why she had come here, and knew all too well what would happen when the phone in front of her would ring and she would pick up. Only that she really, really, really didn't want any of this to happen. To be fair, ever since leaving her family's farm and moving to Manhattan, which is interesting because Limestone isn't exactly the move away from her farm type. She's definitely, or she's the most active in keeping the farm running.
Maybe something happened. Maybe a bunch of boulder mites came over and ate their whole crop and they had to shut down the farm.
Oh, that could be. We do actually know that they deal with pests on the rock farm.
Really? What's coming after rocks?
Parasprites. When parasprites infested Ponyville, Pinkie was the only one who knew what they were. And I assume that's because they sort of were a problem on the rock farm.
Dang. Parasprites going after rocks. Nasty.
Yep. To be fair, ever since leaving her family's farm and moving to Manhattan, she had to lower her sights every now and then. But this, she was sure, was an all-new low for her. Really, the mere thought of what she was about to do made her want to jump out of the next window. Her job at Jolly Burgers seemed like a walk in the park compared to this. Mother of Celestia, what if someone would find out? What if one of her colleagues from Jolly Burgers or her roommate Brightbulb would show up? Or even worse, what if, due to some unfortunate play of fate, her family would somehow find out about her new job? Marble would probably faint from embarrassment. Pa would teach her a lesson about indecent behavior, and Ma would simply shake her head and wonder where she had gone wrong with this daughter of hers.
God, what have you done? Sorry, this is a reference to Chapel of Roan for anyone who doesn't get it.
I actually did get it.
I'm so proud of you. It's just reminding me so much of that when it's describing this. It's basically the same story as far as I can tell so far.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Pink Pony Club was about working as a phone sex operator.
It's like a Gray Pony Club, the sister of Pink Pony Club.
But none of this would ever happen, right? No pony would find out about it. She would do this, get those 50 bits. She would do this, get those 50 bits, and leave as if nothing happened. Piece of cake, right? Heck, she was a pie, one of the toughest mares in all of Manhattan, and she'd be damned if she was going to be afraid of a simple phone call. No, she would do this. She would earn those bits with her dignity intact and her head held up high. With that resolution, she sat up on her chair, ready to face the world, and promptly flinched with a soft shriek as the phone in front of her rang.
Bring!
She hesitated for a moment, biting her lip, but then shook her head. She could do this. She would do this. The only one making it awkward was her. Right? Feeling her heart pound, Limestone Pie reached forward, picked up the phone, and hesitantly led it to her ear.
Hello?
She wanted to begin like any other phone call, but then remembered who was at the other end of the line, cleared her throat, and just like the instructor had demonstrated to her a few minutes ago, said,
Hello there, sexy. What can...
"Oh, goodness heavens me, Wizzy."
Yeah, I've been practicing that, you can tell.
Absolutely dripping.
I get frequent calls from suitors. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
My God. She couldn't contain a cringe at the name given to her by her instructor.
Juicy curves do for you today.
Oh, it's because the last thing was what can. Sorry, we paused a bit there.
That's true.
She clenched her teeth, fighting with herself to not let her head drop onto the desk in frustration as the true nature of her job became clear to her once again. Yes, phone sex. She never knew she could sink this far, and was fairly sure she had hit rock bottom with her job at Jolly Burgers. But as it turned out... Oh, I get it. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But as it turned out, things could always get worse. After realizing what she earned at Jolly Burgers wasn't enough to cover her expenses, she had to come to the sobering conclusion that she needed a second job. And since her job at the burger joint ate up most of her daytime and the range of jobs available at night was rather limited, she had found herself here earlier this day, working for one of Manhattan's least successful, shadiest, and generally worst providers of phone sex. Hello. A buck's voice from the other end of the line interrupted her thoughts.
Wait, they got bucks in this universe? Like deer?
Sure.
Huh. I never met any of them.
Neither have I.
Well, I mean, kind of,
Hi.
There's the one changeling guy, Thorax, but he's not really a deer. He just looks
Not
like
a deer. More like a moose.
Oh, that's true. Like a beetle moose.
Yeah. Go listen to our Bluey episode. Anyways, back to phone sex. Bringing her back to the unpleasant, cigarette smoke-filled, and sparsely lit reality. Are you Juicy Curves? The Juicy Curves? From the sound of rustling paper at the other end of the line, Limestone concluded he must be looking at a magazine. With the cute blonde mane, that nice braided tail, and that... She could hear him lick his lips. That sweet, delicious, juicy plot.
Plot?
Yeah.
Like a story?
Yeah.
Oh. She's got a backstory, I see.
Mm-hmm. A shudder ran through Limestone's body at the thought of what the buck must be doing right now. She knew what her customers were doing. Heck, this was what these services were there for, after all. But it didn't mean that she liked it.
Of course, sweetie.
She reluctantly cooed back, making a serious effort to make her normally rough voice sound at least somewhat seductive. Or at least what she thought would be seductive. As much as she hated to admit it, She had never really had any serious experiences with bucks.
I'm confused. Are they talking about bucks like stallions?
I
Is that another
guess.
word for stallion, or are they just misusing the word? I'm looking this up.
Perhaps it's just a colloquial thing. Maybe it's just what they call stallions on rock farms.
That could be. Yeah, I'm just getting results for deer.
That is confusing, but who's to say?
I think it's best if, just say it's a Manhattan slang thing or a Brock Farm slang thing.
For all we know, this was explained in the previous stories in this series.
That is actually a really good point.
Let's just pretend that's what it is.
Yeah.
As much as she hated to admit it, she had never really had any serious experience with bucks, and what little sex ed she had received from her parents, along with a few pages of those romance novels her sister Marble used to read, wasn't quite enough to teach her how to properly seduce a buck. Holding back another cringe, she lowered her head, looking at the piece of printed paper lying ready in front of her, telling her what to say, and reluctantly added,
I'm all yours, baby.
"Oh, yeah," the buck cooed back, giving a relieved sigh. Those thumping sounds coming from the phone caused some images to pop up in Limestone's head, which she hoped to forget again as soon as possible.
God, this story is just making me cringe so hard.
Yep. I am reading this with my best friend. What has my life come to? The best possible timeline, that's for sure. Say, baby, what are you doing?
I,
Limestone began, cocking an eyebrow.
nothing important really. Just sitting here and.
But she cut herself off as her look went back to her little crib and she read,
I mean, I'm sitting here all lonely and horny, thinking about you and all what you would do to me if you were here.
Fucking nailed it. Yes. The buck sighed with pleasure, and another shudder ran through Limestone's body as the thumping increased. What are you wearing, sweetie?
Me?
Limestone asked, cocking an eyebrow and quickly looking herself over.
Nothing.
She admitted truthfully. Oh.
He's a freaking horse. Oh my god.
Oh. The disillusioned reply wasn't long in coming, and the thumping stopped. Well then, the buck started over after a few seconds. The thumping began again, though slower this time. Then, why don't you put some lingerie on for me, sweetheart? It must be getting cold all naked and alone.
No, it's not.
She cut him off soberly.
Hell, what are you expecting? I'm a pony. I don't normally wear clothes.
That prompted another period of silence from the buck at the phone, followed by a frustrated sigh. Are you serious? He finally asked, sounding surprisingly aggravated. I'm paying $10 per minute to talk with you, so the least you could do is give me some sort of show. You know, he is right.
He's paying good money.
The thing is, perverted as this might sound to the lowly of us, sex work is a job.
But he did choose the worst phone sex operation in Manhattan, apparently. So he should have known what he was getting himself into.
That's true. Or perhaps they just had a very good ad.
That's true. I mean, they did have a picture of Limestone, eh?
I don't think they did.
Oh, that wasn't actually her in the picture.
Yeah, no.
Look, I'm trying, okay?
Limestone snapped back.
It's my first day in this job, and being seductive with some pony you can't even see simply is damn hard.
Then get me someone with a little more practice, the buck snarled, sounding legitimately angry now. Seriously, You guys cost me half my monthly wage. Jesus, dude.
Oh, this guy's not smart.
Yeah, no. So at least give me some sort of relief in return. And don't leave me blue-balled with some damn incapable amateur. Now that's just rude. Be nice to sex workers, people, even if they're amateurs.
Right? Be nice to service workers in general.
Yeah. They're here for a job. God damn it.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes those jobs can be annoying. Everyone has a bad day.
If I get, like, my fries in a small instead of a large, I'm not going to scream at the service worker.
I'm gonna get my mommy to do it.
Yeah! That's what I would do with this situation as well.
Absolutely. Do you think that's ever happened in the history of humanity?
Oh, that probably has. Oh, just thinking about how awkward that is.
Damn. Now I'm just thinking about that. Like how that interaction would go, what would lead up to it.
How dare you! You cost my son $25 just to call your service and have a floozy talk to him in a rude manner.
Oh, you!
Limestone growled. Her head was getting red with anger as well. Not only that this buck had criticized her, now he was being rude as well? Hell no. Not on her watch.
What do you think you are, huh?
She snapped at him, clenching her teeth in anger.
Look, I'm a hard-working mayor, just trying to get by. I need this job, and I won't let myself get in trouble because of some hoity-toity Manhattan buck who thinks he's too good for me.
The buck on the other end of the line took in a deep breath to counter, but Limestone cut him short.
I'm not done yet.
She clarified angrily.
I don't care who you are or what you are, but spending half your monthly wage on porn does not make you superior to me. Get him!
Yeah.
I'm a mayor like anyone else. And just because you're paying a small fortune to hear me talk does not give you the right to talk to me like that.
But...
Don't you dare contradict me, mister.
She hissed sharply.
Oh no, this is going to be getting him off. Trust me, you can consider yourself lucky that I've only heard your voice so far, and that there's a telephone between us, because if you were standing in front of me, I swear I'd make you regret ever having talked to me.
That made the buck at the other end of the line hesitate, and give a moderately surprised,
You think I can't take you on, huh? You think I'm weak just because I'm a mayor?
Limestone continued to rage into the telephone, talking herself into a stupor.
Trust me, pussy. I can take you on. I spent 25 years of my life in charge of a rock farm. I can break boulders 3 times my size just with my bare hooves. And I'm talking real boulders. You don't want to find out what I could do to your boulders. Jesus.
I think that's the first time I've ever heard Wizzy use the word pussy.
There was that one time that I was talking about Josie and the Pussycats.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
Josie and the Pussycats.
Oh. Now the buck sounded legitimately interested. Not to say curious. Is this, like, part of the show, or... Wow. Hey. Some people are into it.
I knew this would happen.
He gave a short grunt, and the thumping returned. More intense this time. But Limestone was too caught up in her tirade to notice any of it. Who the buck did he think he was? All her life, she had never backed away from a confrontation. And this needy buck thought he could mess with her just because he had a whole network of phone lines between himself and Limestone. Well, he better think again.
What? Getting cold hooves, huh?
Limestone gave a short, angry laugh.
Don't think you can talk yourself out of this easily. I've dealt with ponies like you before, and all of them have ended up running home, crying for their mommy. So don't mess with me,
She warned him threateningly.
or else you'll regret it.
The buck gave a hesitant swallow, then, in a timid voice, asked, "Well, what would you do to me?"
Oh, I'd come up with something. Trust me.
Limestone said with a toothy grin, with her mind trailing off and the frustration that had built up during her job at Jolly Burgers starting to be released. She continued,
First, I'd knock you to the ground, then tie you up. Oh, she's getting into it now.
"Hell yeah."
A friend of my sister taught me how to use a lasso, and trust me,
She paused for effect, still grinning.
I know how to use it.
"Yes," the buck said with a pleased sigh. "And after that?"
I'd throw you out on the street where every pony can see you and laugh at your misery.
Limestone declared soberly.
Because that's what you deserve, you perverted piece of dirt.
She didn't actually spit, but I needed to add it for the effect.
Lovely. "And if I'd break free and come back?" the buck asked between short gasps. He seemed quite worked up for some reason. "If I challenge you to a rematch and badmouth your family or something?"
Oh, you wouldn't.
Limestone growled threateningly, narrowing her eyes. That had struck a nerve. "Yeah, uh-oh. Be very careful, my guy.
She's actually going to kill him now.
Like, she may be a bitch, but there are some lines you cannot cross with her."
She actually comes through the phone and strangles him. That's what actually puts him over the edge.
"And if I would?" the buck asked excitedly, sounding like a little colt on his birthday. "If I'd say I screwed your mom, slept with your sister, what would you do? What would you do to me?" Limestone could feel her grip around the telephone tighten, hearing her teeth grind against each other. This buck really didn't know when he had crossed the line, did he?
I would make you regret it.
She hissed coldly.
I'd kick your ass so badly you'd need a trauma surgeon to pull my hoof out of it.
"Yes?" the buck asked, his voice reaching a slightly higher pitch. "And then?"
You don't know when to stop, do you?
Limestone asked, visibly disgusted by the buck's indecency.
I would knock you to the ground, spread your legs, and give you a rock-breaking kick right into your tiny, ugly little...
Oh.
This is the worst fan fiction we've ever read on the podcast.
Quite possibly.
I'm sorry to the author. You did a wonderful job at making this as uncomfortable as you could.
She was cut off by an excited moan coming from the other end of the line, and a loud clank as, she supposed, the buck dropped the phone. "Yes." You think anyone's into it?
You mean into the phone sex or into the fan fiction?
I suppose us doing this.
Oh, yeah.
Think anyone's hearing our sexy voices and going, "Oh, yeah."
You know I am. You know me.
Yeah, I know you. I've met you, Wizzy. I've actually known you for, 13 years? I can't
Christ.
remember.
It's been like 13 years. Going strong.
Hell yeah. Our friendship has only gotten better because it started out terribly. Oh, we were little babies.
It was my first message ever to Jen.
Aw. Anyways, the stallion, or the buck, has just come. He's ejaculated.
Oh, that's what you meant by that. Thank you for elaborating.
She could hear him moan in pure ecstasy, a reaction that only fueled her anger even further.
Are you freaking kidding me?
She growled into the telephone.
I'm not done with you yet. You better pick up the phone and get your sorry little ass over here so that I can...
But she was cut short as the buck picked up the phone again and, still breathing heavily, said, "Thanks. That was exactly what I needed."
What?
Limestone asked, outraged. She had no idea what sort of pleasure this buck got from their talk, but she wasn't done yet, and if he thought he could get himself out of getting his ass kicked by smooth-talking her, he better think again. "I'll throw in a good word with your boss," the buck offered, reconciliatory. "What's your name, sweetheart?"
My name is the last name you'll say in your whole miserable life.
That prompted a soft chuckle from the buck, much to Limestone's dislike. "Alrighty then," he said sweetly. "I'll call again tomorrow. Same time, same place?"
I swear to Celestia, if you hang up now...
"Tomorrow it is then," the buck said, and Limestone could hear him throw a kiss at her. "See you then." And just like that, he hung up, leaving an angry, fuming, but also moderately confused Limestone behind.
And slightly horny.
Slowly, she lowered the phone, hanging up. Her look rested on the phone, then went to her side where all of the remaining ponies, both mares working the telephones, as well as her boss at the end of the corridor of desks, were looking at her in awestruck silence. A dozen mouths hanging open.
Ooh, what just happened?
The end. That was Limestone Pie Works at a Phone Sex Operator by Peaberry.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Now we know that the P stands for pervert.
Yes. Yes, it does.
I'm sorry, P. Barry. Don't get mad at me.
Yeah, for all we know, it does stand for pervert.
That's true.
Who's to say? That was interesting.
This was amazing, I will say. There is no fic that we have read that has been like this, where I have been simultaneously laughing my rear off and uncomfortable at having to read the disgusting antics of this perverted buck, I guess.
I guess. I mean, yeah, it was pretty funny. I have to imagine it was only made funnier by being here with you, Wizzy.
Aw, thank you.
But clearly I did most of the work. That's not the point, though.
Whoa, you didn't have to say pussy. That was like most of the work in that job itself. Just having to utter such a horrific word as a gay man.
Fair, yeah. I do have a lot of respect for you doing that. I don't think that we needed to read the other stories to get it. This works just fine on its own. Good job on that, P. Bizzle.
Yeah, definitely. I think the only thing that this would have cleared up is why she's in Manhattan, but I mean, this is a fan fiction. We don't need to know why.
Yeah. And the buck thing, maybe that clears it up in the other stories. I don't know.
That's also true.
Yeah, you know.
Maybe they have the returning character of Pervy Buck.
Yeah, you know, I'm still disappointed in him with the whole yelling at a sex worker. That was just disappointing.
Yeah. And then, like, using her unknowingly for her rage was pretty gross.
Yeah. At least there he thought it was part of it.
Well, hopefully he did.
I mean, that is what he said.
Yeah, that is true.
So it's something like, is this part of the show?
It's actually just a pre-recorded thing that he's just, like, getting off to and doesn't even know it.
Yeah, it would be wild. I don't think I could ever work at a sex phone operator.
I I would never want to, but, I probably could. I'd be pretty good at it.
I think you could. I don't know. I just don't think I would have the chops for it.
Mm,
I don't know. Is my voice sexy? I don't think it is.
it is to me.
I think it's not a bad voice. I just don't think that it works as like a sexy voice, you know?
For a phone sex line, I will say you don't sound like the stereotype of a phone sex worker. If that either makes you happier or less happy, I don't know, but I will say.
I don't know. Good for people who do work there.
Woo! Shout out sex workers!
Hopefully they make good money.
Like, unironically, shout out sex workers. That is one of the
Yeah, man.
bravest things that anyone could be working as.
Yeah, I mean, I will say phone sex workers kind of have it easy in the sex worker division.
That's kind of fair.
Or maybe they don't. I don't know. Maybe phone sex workers have it really bad. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But, I also don't think I could call a phone sex place for any of my
Oh, God.
needs. It just doesn't sound particularly...
I get phone anxiety as it is, okay?
I don't know. I would be super awkward. I wouldn't know what to say. It's difficult enough doing this podcast.
Oh, God.
And
It was hard
calling,
enough doing this fan fiction.
Like, how does it, I would be like, how does this work? I don't know. Maybe after a couple times I could get into the groove of it, but like, I don't know. I would just want to know too much about your life.
It would just be like Limestone, basically, where it's like, she really doesn't want to be here.
Yeah. But hey, that's just me.
That's just work in this capitalist society.
Very true. And if you want to work at a phone sex operator, you can go down in the description and give this story a like.
They have applications, baby.
Yeah. Legitimately, though, I don't think I could do it with a fucking AI. First off, AIs aren't sexy. But second, I just don't think I would have the chops to do it with an AI either.
Okay.
Maybe I would start thinking about the AI like a real person. Maybe I would go, oh, this is too goofy. It doesn't even exist. Maybe
You're
I
just
would
going to end
go,
up with an AI girlfriend. And it's just like those ads wanted you to end up.
oh no.
All those ads that show like Meg Griffin or something and say, get an AI girlfriend.
God. I could never.
Okay. I want to point one thing out. If the Apple family gets a song called Apples to the Core, the Pie family deserves a song called Hard as a Rock.
About that. No, that doesn't happen. But funny if it had. Oh, man. I wonder if they ever considered it.
That would have been funny. Be like, if this fan fiction was an actual episode of the show, that would be the song that went with it.
Yeah.
It's like Limestone really doesn't want to do this job, but she's like, I can power through it. And then she sings the titular line.
Yay. Anything else we have to say about this story?
I don't think so. I'm proud of Limestone.
Yeah. Okay, in the comments, Mithril Moth, may he rest in peace,
Mithril Moth
says, by the way, you do know bucks are deer, right?
Oh.
And P. Berry replied, based on many, seems like something you learn. Seems like you learn something new every day. Based on many other stories I've read, I've come to assume that buck is a term for a younger male older than a colt, younger than a stallion. Blame it on the stories, I guess. Which, no, I don't believe so. I mean, we're what, 173 episodes?
Mithril Moth also replied to that.
Oh, yeah, Mithril Moth replied, I think you've been misreading a lot of stories. you've been reading that because the only common usage of buck around here is either kicking with the back legs or slang term for pony sex. I have literally never seen a story on the site except yours make the mistake of using buck in the context of male equine. And then Peaberry replied with, you might want to check out Fallout Equestria series then. Buck is a term commonly used in both the original, for instance, Murky number 7, used to describe male equines. Apparently it is a thing in Fallout Equestria. Go figure.
Oh. But then Mithromoth replies again with, it's something from Fallout Equestria. I don't read that, and never will. In any case, it's wrong. Ooh!
It is wrong.
I
Take
really
that,
do feel it's
Fallout
wrong.
Equestria.
I mean, if like they explain it in Fallout Equestria as like this is the term we use in this story, then it's like who cares? But a buck is a male deer, a stallion is a male horse. That's just, taxologically speaking or whatever.
Yeah. But I will say there are in the comics there are like male deer. Or there are just sentient deer who do speak. So perhaps that's what they were talking about.
That is
You
what
never
I
know.
would definitely go with. Because I like the story to make sense, and yeah, that's how it makes sense to me.
I mean, we could also just assume that it is just slang term with rock farmers.
That is true.
All right. Well, everybody, thank you all so much for joining us today. Hope you stuck around, and if you did, wink. You're looking good.
Give us a winky smiley in the comments, please.
Of the YouTube version. I don't know if you can comment on any other site if you're on any other site. Yeah, that's all, everybody. Good luck with you and yours. And tell us if we've made you excited.
Oh.
See ya.
And the blossoms flow forth from the west into the eastern bank, settling on the ground.
Wizzy, I already told you I'm not into you.
Man, but that poem was really sexy. I wrote it just for you.
I know, which is why I'm telling you, shut up. I don't want it.
All right, back to the drawing board.
Look, man, you're too good for me.
That can't be it. No, I don't accept that as an answer. Nope. I'm going to keep stalking you until you learn to love me. Hi, I'm a romance character from the early 2000s.
God. Now I want to read some stalker romance.